Good morning students, this is Mrs. Jaya. In continuation to the introductory part in diversity in the living world, today we are going to extend into binomial nomenclature, trinomial nomenclature with regard to the taxonomic part. Right? So, as yesterday I had mentioned, diversity in the living world in the sense when we explore new areas or the existing ones, we come across different kinds of organisms, right from the basic microorganisms to the huge ones. We explore new areas, we come across different organisms, right? And that is what is known as biodiversity. So what is biodiversity? Bio is the living forms. Diversity is the different ones. The different microorganisms, the different animals, the different plants which all comprise under the nature. Right? So, when we come across these different kinds of animals and plants and microorganisms and all, it would be rather difficult to identify. First we identify them, right? So, identification is being done. But then once we cannot explore, when we explore, we can't study all of them at a stretch. So what do we need to do? First we have to start naming them, we have to classify them, and then we have to arrange them in a sequential order in order to make the study easy. That is what we study under the taxonomy. So the taxonomy includes the scientific study under nomenclature, classification, and so taxonomy includes identification, classification, and nomenclature. Now, let us study one after the other in detail. What is meant by identification? Once when we see an organism, we have to first identify it based on its morphological characters. Yesterday, as I had already introduced you, what is meant by morphology? Morphos is form, logy is study. Right? So based on the morphological features like form, size, shape and all, the color, the external features, we identify a living organism, either maybe a plant or an animal for the matter it is concerned. Right? So next, coming to classification, we need to classify these organisms for a better understanding of the study. Right? And then nomenclature. So proceeding to the nomenclature, what is nomenclature? Naming a particular organism in a universally accepted manner, that is what is called as nomenclature. So let us go in detail with each one of the other. So first let us go with the nomenclature. So in nomenclature, as I had already said, it is naming a particular organism in a universally acceptable manner. Right? So in the world we come across the different places, the different geographical areas and all, and each particular area, if an organism is being called by different names, automatically it leads to a lot of confusion. So in order to avoid the confusion, what we have to do? We have to name a particular organism in a universally acceptable manner in one name so it can be understood to everybody. So that is what is called as nomenclature. So for that purpose, Carolus Linnaeus has introduced what is known as binomial nomenclature. Bi means two, nomial is name, and then the process of naming a particular organism with two names, it is what is known as binomial nomenclature. So, a particular organism that which is living in the environment, we call it a species. Might be a plant or an animal or a microorganism. For that purpose it is concerned. It is called as a species. There are about 1.7 to 1.8 million species on this earth, right? So, in order to classify them, as I had said, for the binomial nomenclature, two names are given for a species which are called as generic name, and the second name is the species or specific epithet. Okay, for example, Panthera leo. It's a biological name for lion. Right? So the word Panthera, the first word, stands under the generic name, which is in the noun form, and the second word Leo comes under the species or the specific epithet, which is the adjective form for this word Panthera. So Panthera is the name of a particular animal, which we call it the generic name or the genus. Okay, so we are naming a particular organism, whereas the word Leo is describing the morphological features of the noun, that is the lion. So it has got the name Panthera leo. So this is the noun form and the adjective form. Now coming to the rules for binomial nomenclature, every biological name or scientific name of a living organism has two names, the genus and the species, the generic name or the species name or the specific epithet. The noun form starts always with a capital letter, and the adjective form, that is the second word, the Leo, the species name, starts with a small letter. And these are all the Latin words. Irrespective of the origin, these are all the Latinized words or the Latinized forms. Okay, and then always the name of the scientist who has coined this term will be written after the species name. Okay, so Panthera leo, Linnaeus, like that. Okay, and like this. And this is written in an abbreviated form, right? So there are a number of examples that which can be listed. For example, Mangifera indica, Homo sapiens for human beings. So this is the scientific name for mango. This is for the humans, etc. So there are a wide variety of examples which describe the binomial nomenclature. So let me once summarize the full binomial nomenclature. So the binomial nomenclature is always having two names, the generic name and the species name. The genus always starts with a capital letter, the species always starts with a small letter, and the person who has coined this, the name comes after the species name in an abbreviated form, and all these words are the Latin words or the Latinized forms, and usually they are underlined separately or they are written in italics, right? So then they are always, the name of the scientist is always in an abbreviated form. So this is what is known as binomial nomenclature. So first, when we identify a particular organism, we identify based on its morphological characters, and those are known as species. Different organisms are known as different species. Species is the basic unit of classification, and then there are 1.7 to 1.8 million number of species on this earth, and these species, for the universal acceptance and for the universal study, they are given a standardized acceptable form of names, That is what is known as binomial nomenclature. Sometimes this binomial nomenclature, these two names are being expanded into another word with an interspecific or intraspecific, what I can better say, intraspecific name, or what is called as subspecies. So that is what is known as trinomial nomenclature. So as I had said, tri is three, nomial is name, right? So it includes three words: the genus, the species, and the subspecies. For example, the scientific name for crow is Corvus splendens. So Corvus is the generic name, splendens is the species name. So there are different kinds of species based on different geographical areas. Like for example, Corvus splendens insolens. So this is a Myanmar crow. Whereas Corvus splendens protegatus, which is a Sri Lankan crow. Right. So here the Corvus remains as the genus, the splendens remains as the species, and the insolens and the protegatus remains as the subspecies. So this is what is called as trinomial nomenclature. That means the Corvus is the generic name, that means it comes under the crow. This splendens is the species, okay? And then insolens, that means it is an intraspecific form of the species. So it is known as the subspecies, okay? So binomial nomenclature, naming an organism biologically with two names, naming an organism with three names having subspecies, it is called as trinomial nomenclature. And another one, tautonymy, where the generic name or genus and species name is same. Okay, like for example, Naza, Vulpes. Right? So where the two words are spelled as same. Okay? So the spelling of the two names with the same names, with the same generic name and species name, that is what is known as tautonymy. Is that clear? So binomial nomenclature, trinomial nomenclature, and tautonymy, the entire thing comes under the nomenclature. That means naming a particular organism biologically in a universally acceptable manner, so that to avoid confusion, and once the word is spelled as crow or a cat or a dog with a scientific name, everybody comes to the same conclusion of that particular animal with that particular features. Right? Thank you.